Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Veterans Brief, sponsored by Veterans Upward Bound. I am John Woods, and today we're going to talk about math and building your math skills. A lot of times we have difficulty in school with math and manipulating numbers and math problems. So we're going to learn a little bit today about some of the tips and the rules that are in math to be able to help us to do math better and to calculate numbers better. Our guest instructor today is Jan Mayhew, and she is a math instructor for Veterans Upward Bound. So we're glad to have her. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here. The topic of my discussion today is going to be, when is math going to be fun? Well, most people would say never. I think math is fun, but then I'm a little off. Math is kind of like a puzzle. When you do it, you feel good. When you get it right and you've completed it, well, that's how you should feel with math. It shouldn't be, a struggle and making you anxious and upset every time you try to do it. So we're going to break it down a little bit today, and we're going to start by talking a little bit about some truths and myths of math. Okay, the first one, math is required for most college programs. This is a truth. Any program that you enroll in at the community college or the four-year college or university level is going to require some kind of math. It may be college algebra. You might be able to get by with a liberal arts math 1 and 2. Some programs will even let you take statistics in lieu of algebra, but there is math. So that is definitely a truth. Another one is that most people have not used math since high school. Well, this is also a truth. The veterans that I see come in haven't used math unless their MOS was dealing in statistics or analysis or something like that. And we have our phones that have calculators on them. So who needs to do math anymore in your head? So that's definitely a truth. Now, the next one, people think math is fun. Oh, that's false. Nobody thinks math is fun. Well, I do, but most people don't. But it can be fun. Okay, another truth or myth is that you can fail the PERT. Well, that's a myth. That's false. You can't really fail the PERT. It's not a pass-fail type of test. It determines where you would be placed in college math, and it can kind of give us an idea if you need some remediation or if you're ready for college algebra. What Veterans Upward Bound does is remediate you if you do test into a remediation course and let you retake the PERT with the hope that you'll score into college algebra. Another one is the first math course you could take for college credit is intermediate algebra. Well, this is true and false. If you test out of remediation, you would go into intermediate algebra. But there are other courses. For example, there's liberal arts math 1 and 2, which sometimes takes the place of college algebra or intermediate math. All right, the last one is that math has a lot of rules to learn. Oh, this is definitely a truth. Everything you learn builds on everything you learned the day before. So it's not like you can learn it today and forget it tomorrow. You're going to keep using it from here on out. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is the number line. The number line deals with both positive and negative numbers. Now, people sometimes get confused when they start seeing all these minus and negative signs and they don't exactly know where to go. Let's see if we could break this down a bit. A number line is just a horizontal line with hash marks on it. In the middle of the line, the hash mark points to 0. Now, 0 is not positive, it's not negative, it's neutral. Now, when we start talking about positive numbers, let's think in terms of money. Everybody knows money. If you have it, you're in the positive, you're in the black, and you understand that. If you spend more than what you have, then you're in the red or you're in the negative. That's how a number line works. Anything to the right of 0 is in the positive. Anything to the left of 0 is in the negative. Numbers to the right of 0 mean that you're adding a plus number. If, for example, I have $3 in the bank and I add another 3 to it, that means I'm plussing it. So I would add 3 to the 3 and come up with a balance of 6. That's simply how the number line works. There are some rules for adding and subtracting signed numbers. For example, if I have a 3 plus 2, that means that I'm adding 2 like signs. They're both positive. Now, when you have like signs, the operation you're going to use is addition. That means you're going to add. So if I have a -3 plus a -2, that would equal a -5 because they're both negative signs. Now, another way I could write that would be a -2 minus a -3 minus 2, which would equal a -5. So you can't let that throw you. Anytime you have like signs, you're going to add them, and the sign will be the sign that you're using. Now, if we have unlike signs, that means we're going to subtract. What that means is if I have a -3 and a +2, my answer would be a -1. I would start at -3 on the number line. I'm adding 2 to that, so I would move to the right 2 places, and my answer there would be a -1. Now, I could have a negative and a positive. Well, I could have 2 plus a -3. Again, my signs are not like, they're unlike signs. Unlike signs means I'm going to take those numbers and I'm going to subtract them. Now, the rule for finding the sign of unlike numbers is that you take the sign of the larger number. So in the example, -3 plus 2 is equal to -1. Well, the -3 is my larger number, so that means my sign of my answer is going to be negative. So for like signs, you're going to add. For unlike signs, you're going to subtract. Simple as that.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us today on this math lesson. And this is John Woods and Jan Mayhew, and we're out.